Hello, hello, hello. Hello. How are we? Back again. Guess who's back? Back again. Yes, I'm back. Tell a friend. Am I in the right stream? Oh, yes, I am. Thank God. I just opened this without even looking. Right, I need to put Verdict Watch here, don't I? Verdict Watch for, what was the name of the guy? For Verdict Watch for, oh, I don't remember his name now. Oh, let me open it up. Austin Ford, right. Austin, Austin Ford. Oh, okay, so no, I'll just save that and I'll put it up there. So Sarah P's got it. Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining. Please hit the like, subscribe to YouTube and the notification bell. Also, if you fancy it, please join the channel. Got a members only stream this evening, me and the Gilf. So please press the join button. I know you have to pay, but sorry about that. Oh heavens. Not sure if you're going there, but Uh, oh hell, maybe is a better word for you, young. Hey Shelley, right, we got this. Just explain, we're still on Verdict Watch, by the way. So I'm not ignoring it. We are. I don't think we're gonna get anything back today. So I think it will be next week. I don't next week, sorry, either tomorrow or next week. So we'll always be on Verdict Watch. When a verdict comes, we will be happy days. Happy days, Heidi. Good. I think I earned 20 cents the other day on a stream, which is, oh no, actually 39 cents is the most I've ever got from a stream from ads. So every penny counts. I'm not begrudging it. Every penny counts. I'm here playing Dreamlight Valley. I'm listening. I don't know what the hell that is, but I hope you're enjoying it wherever Dreamlight Valley is, and you can listen all the way. I know some people don't want to watch this trial, but so I got a lesson in this by some of the people in chat. What I said, I'll never stream anything involving children, and some of the people, actually they're not here, but Suzanne was one of them, and she said to me, "Well, why wouldn't you stream trial about a child? Because yes, they've been alleviated, but get the child's name out there." As long as you do it in a unique and a nice way, basically stop being selfish. Because I don't wanna watch it, but, like, me not watching it doesn't change the outcome, and it's better to support that child and get the name out and stuff, so that's why I've started doing some of these. Because I think I agree, we should be celebrating their life and putting their name out there. Maybe not celebrating, that's not the right word maybe, but you know what I mean. Hi again, Nana. Hope you're well, Nana. A stupid Switch game. Oh, well, you lost me already then. Lost me already. Hi, Nana. Welcome back, one blessed Nana. Hey, Heidi. And a wave. Nice. Right. Well, we're good to do. I'll put this on stream. JB's got to be a little bit behind us because she's in work. Um, see, it's nice when everyone's nice together. But hi, Sarah. Let's present. We're just gonna go straight into it because I'm not gonna hang about. Everyone knew it was this time. Watch child kidnapping murder trial. So I think this occurred the, in she went missing the 10th of July 2020. Um, she spent the previous night at an apartment with her half brother and his father, Henry Dinkins, or this guy. Um, so this is not a jury trial. This is a bench trial, by the way. Just so you know, bench trial. Right. Share. Why is Amber Turd? Why is that going on Twitter? Amber Turd is going around. Anyway, right, hang on. This is the article. If it's based in Iowa, this is the article. Hey Josie, hello. Josie as well. Thank you for doing the PayPal thing. I really appreciate that. I try and encourage people to go PayPal if they want to contribute because I get to keep 100% of the money. On YouTube, sometimes I only get to keep 30% of the money. So um I know. Oh my god, he is a bit of a beast, isn't he? So I'll pin this now. Um if people want to read it. Okay, hang on. Pin message. Pinned it now. What are you saying, Nana? Nana saying, transport kids are hard. I have 4 and 1 grandson. I know that I do if something happened to one of mine. I like knowing that someone's getting just yeah, I never ever streamed Nana, children because I got 4 nieces. I don't until people told me stop being selfish and stream and make sure that girl's name is out there or that child's name's out there and make sure she gets justice. You know, celebrate her life, not be selfish and not do it. So that's why I stream them. So um, by the way, Josie as well. Task for you, Josie. You're the person for it. You know that Sarah actually does it as well, but the Zachariah like website and the store and stuff. Share away. You know, so do my PayPal, happy days. But remember to do Zachariah's website and stuff like that as well. Um, you know, you could pummel those in. I always forget, but please feel free to share that as well in chat. Um, okay, so that's the guy that's accused. Thanks, Josie. Thank you very much. And same for Sarah, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Whenever people are here, if you can share them, happy days. Right. I think we're 2.5 hours behind, but I'm gonna do a 1.25, so we'll catch up soon, and we've got a lunch break then. I'll skip it then. So with that, I need to move, don't I? Hang on, I need to place myself somewhere because Jamie will be coming now. Um, this is that one. I need to put myself up a little bit more. I'm trying to cover the law crime stuff with this. Cool. Obviously, trigger warning, obviously, but hi, Ferrell. Thanks for checking in, Ferrell. JB's not here yet. That's all good. Finish. I don't know what the clip is, but you finish away. Right, we're gonna start it because I was told by Irish I need to start streaming sooner than I do. So I'm gonna put it. Just a reminder, this is not YouTube trial. This is a also the bloody sweet stuff, don't I? Profile. Okay, I've done this bit. Copy link. Put that on my own Discord. Okay, that did not work that well, did it? But whatever. Okay. Oh, Shelley, I thought you'd done it. Right, I need to post on Discord now then. Some of these streams. Right. Where is it? This one, is it? Share a link.
All rise. District Court of Iowa
Whoop.
is now in session. Honorable Judge Latham presiding.
You may be seated. Good morning, everyone. We're here in the matter of State of Iowa versus Henry Dinkins, case number FECR 415-636. Mr. Dinkins is present, and he is represented by his attorneys Chad Freeze and Joel Waters. The State of Iowa today is represented by Kelly Cunningham, and I understand Assistant County Attorney Liz O'Donnell will be also representing the state. Before we start today, I would like to start with a couple of admonishments for both sides in this case. I'm asking both sides to advise their witnesses that they shall not be viewing any of the live streaming of this proceedings, and they shall not view that until they are released by the court as a witness in this case. Further, I understand that this is an open courtroom. And although it is a bench trial, I expect the same decorum in the courtroom as I would in any trial that I preside over. And I will ask for that respect of the court.
I have emailed you.
Advise all
I've emailed you back.
Viewing this trial within the courtroom. They're also admonished that they should not have any contact with any witnesses during the course of the trial or reach out to them in any way during the course of the trial. This trial is going to be conducted as cleanly as possible.
Yeah, I've emailed you.
Everyone has
1721
in this matter. The court would first like to address outstanding rulings on motions made by both parties in this case. We had motions on Monday. A majority of the motions were already ruled on at that time. I would like to address those rulings that are outstanding. I'd like to first address the state's motion to introduce other crimes, wrongdoings or acts of evidence pursuant to Iowa Rule of Evidence 5.404B. That was filed on July 22nd of this year. I'm going to deny that state's motion. The court finds the prejudicial effect and undue prejudice to Mr. Dinkins is too great.
Yes, Shelley.
Is not outweighed by the probative value of this evidence. I will advise the state, if the state determines that this evidence should be presented as a result of how the case proceeds, the state may renew their motion. I will next address the defendant's motion that was filed on July 25th of this year, and that was precluding the state from offering any evidence of the defendant's purchase of bleach. I'm going to deny that motion filed by the defense. The court finds that this evidence is relevant to the facts of the case.
Happy days, Farrell.
Be confirmed by testimony of witnesses presented by the state, and the defense will have the opportunity to challenge the evidence through cross-examination.
About
Next,
2.5 hours behind.
The defendant's motion to suppress.
That was filed on the same date,
that being July 25th of this year. That motion is also denied. The court finds that this interview was not a custodial interrogation. Although the defendant's phone was removed from the room, it is clear from the video that he could have access to the phone. Even during the course of the interview, his phone rang and the officer allowed him to view who was calling, and the defendant actually stated he did not need to answer that phone call. And as far as any control of his keys, that was not done until just moments before he requested an attorney. The fact is, the defendant voluntarily came to the police station. He was not summoned down. Next, the purpose of the interview was just simply to gather information about a child that had disappeared and his efforts to locate her and his activities during that time frame. And the defendant was never confronted of any evidence of his guilt during the course of that interview. And at no time did the officer indicate he was not able to leave. He was even allowed to use the restroom and was knocking on the door and was able to exit the room. Clearly, the officer was only trying to gather information. And once the defendant requested to speak with an attorney, the interview was completed and no further questioning. Next, this court will address the state's motion in limine that was filed on July 28th of this year. We'll address paragraph 5A, Roman numeral 1, that was previously granted at the previous hearing. Roman numeral 2, that motion will be also granted. The court does not find the relevance of this information. And if the defense may request the court to reconsider that upon how the case proceeds. Roman numeral 3, granted. This court again does not find the relevance of this information to the case, and there's no evidence that the defendant knew of this information prior to the incident in question. Paragraph 4, that motion is also granted. There's no relevance whatsoever to this case concerning that information or facts. Paragraph 5 and 6 is also granted. There's no support as to how this information is needed to address any credibility issues of that witness, and all the information or facts occurred after the events alleged in this matter. And also, in relation to all of those paragraphs, the court finds that there's no probative value in this, and is only outweighed by the confusing of the issues in this case, possible wasting of time and undue delay. And paragraph C is also granted. Again, this information clearly would only confuse the issues during the course of this trial. The defendant only became aware of this information following his arrest as to the information that has been provided to this court at this time. And again, any probative value of this is outweighed by that confusion. The defense, of course, may renew these, may address the court and request that this information or facts be presented during the course of the trial based on the evidence presented at trial.
Well,
I would ask each counsel, do you believe that all motions have been addressed at this time?
The state does believe all motions have been addressed, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
okay. Right. So if you want more details about this trial, look at the top of the chat. I put a link in there that gives you a brief summary. I have not read it properly myself yet, so please don't ask me yet. I will read it as we're watching this, but everything is there. Right.
At this time, Ms. Cunningham, I'd ask that you read the trial information then.
In the Iowa District Court for Scott County, State of Iowa plaintiff versus Henry E. Dinkins defendant. Criminal number FDCR 415636, the trial information. Counts now Michael J. Walton as County Attorney of Scott County, State of Iowa, and in the name and by the authority of the State of Iowa, accuses Henry E. Dinkins of the following crimes. Count 1, murder in the first degree. The said Henry E. Dinkins, on or about the 10th day of July 2020, in the County of Scott and State of Iowa, did commit murder in the first degree, in violation of Section 707.2 of the Code of Iowa, by willfully, deliberately, and with premeditation, kill B.T., as defined in Section 707.2, subparagraph 1A of the Code of Iowa, or to kill B.T. while participating in a forcible felony, to wit, kidnapping in the first degree, in violation of Section 707.2, subparagraph 1B of the Code of Iowa. Count 2, kidnapping in the first degree. The said Henry E. Dinkins, on or about the 10th day of July 2020, in the County of Scott and State of Iowa, did confine or remove B.T. without authority or consent or by deception, with the intent to inflict serious injury or subject her to sexual abuse, and in so doing caused her death in violation of Section 710.2 of the Code of Iowa. A true information, Michael J. Walton, County Attorney. To these charges, the defendant has entered pleas of not guilty.
Thank you, Ms. Cunningham. You may proceed with your opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Your Honor, Ms. O'Donnell is now able to join us, so I would just ask her to come to council table if she would.
She may.
May it please the court. Counsel, Mr. Dinkins. Your Honor, the facts that you're going to hear about involve individuals who were involved in some type of family relationship. And initially what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify the various parties, describe the relationship that existed amongst the various parties, and from there then I'll walk through the facts of this particular case. Breasia Terrell, during the period of July of 2020, was a 10-year-old girl. Her mother is Aisha Langford. Breasia had an older brother with the initials of CS, who was 13 during this period of time, and she had a younger brother by the name of DL, who was 8 years of age. Henry Dinkins is the biological father of DL. He is not the biological father of Breasia Terrell, and he is not the biological father of the older boy, CS, who was 13 at the time. Aisha Langford is going to get on the stand, and she's going to testify that she met Henry Dinkins when she was around 18 or 19 years of age. And by virtue of the relationship that they had, she became pregnant, and that's when she had conceived DL. As far as describing the relationship that she had with Henry Dinkins over the course of DL's life, she will testify that he was not a father who was actively engaged in the child's life. He was not an individual who would spend a lot of time with his son. He was not an individual that his son would go visit on a regular occasion. In fact, he was not an individual who was actively providing regular support to the family. At any rate, with that being said, that takes us to the time frame of June of 2020. Now, during the summer of 2020, Aisha Langford will testify that, in fact, there was opportunities to spend time at an activity where Henry Dinkins was located at. There were cookouts that were taking place that would have happened during June of 2020. She and the children were participants in that cookout that Mr. Dinkins was responsible for putting on. And then during that period of time, Aisha Langford had the opportunity to meet a young woman by the name of Andrea Culberson. Andrea Culberson was a woman who was the girlfriend of Henry Dinkins, and she will testify that she had been involved in a 6-year relationship with Henry Dinkins. Now, Andrea Culberson, she lived over at the Jersey Meadow Apartments. The address is 2744 Jersey Meadow Apartments, number 8. And that was an apartment that she was sharing with Henry Dinkins. With the backdrop of what had occurred in June of 2020, Aisha Langford will testify that around July 8th, she was traveling in her car with her son, DL, and happened to see the defendant travel past them and pull into a quick shop. DL expressed an interest in wanting to spend some time with his father. That prompted Aisha Langford to pull into the quick shop, engage Mr. Dinkins in a conversation, and indicates to him that he needed to spend some time with his son. By virtue of that conversation, Mr. Dinkins indicated that he would take the child, for a few days and spend some time with him. And so arrangements had been made for him to call to come pick up DL, and the date that that particular event played out was actually on July 9th of 2020. Now, Aisha was actively employed. She worked at the Checkers located on East Locust. And just for purposes of perspective, because this will become important later on in testimony, if you think of the area where Sudlow Junior High is located at, there on Locust Street, and just about a half block down the street to the east, that's the Checkers that Aisha Langford worked at. She actually was working on the morning and afternoon of July 9th when Henry Dinkins had responded to her mother, Danita Gardner's residence to pick up Detorius. And relative to
Right,
the plans that
Baker.
existed, the plans very simply were for Henry Dinkins to take his son and only his son. Aisha Langford will testify that while during her relationship, when she became pregnant with DL and Breasia was about 2 years of age, he was not a father figure to Breasia. Breasia had a different father. And so then when Henry Dinkins responded to Danita Gardner's residence somewhere around 11 o'clock that morning to pick up Detorius, the circumstances changed. Aisha will testify that Detorius is very close to his sister Breasia. And quite honestly, they are attached at the hip to one another. Detorius expressed an interest for his sister Breasia, and I should say DL, expressed an interest for his sister Breasia to come along. Ms. Gardner took a position that that was an issue that would need to be discussed with the children's mother when she got home. Breasia was very much interested in being able to go with her brother because it was going to be a fun outing. And actually, the 13-year-old boy, CS, expressed an interest in being able to go along as well. Henry Dinkins indicated that Breasia was welcome to come along, but he indicated that the 13-year-old boy, CS, could not come along. And the reason that he offered up for that was there was not enough room in his car for the 3 children. The day that he picked Victoria
Hi,
South,
John. Yes.
Asia came along.
New
He
trial.
was operating a black Camaro, and that black Camaro had seating both for front seat passengers and back seat passengers. At any rate, Mr. Dinkins left the Gardner residence with DL and with Asia, and then through testimony or statements provided by Mr. Dinkins, and even information provided by DL, who was later interviewed through the Davenport Police Department, they both described going over to a residence that was a friend of Mr. Dinkins. This individual was identified as Vincent Howard, who lived on Taylor Street. They went over. There was time spent there at the Howard residence. Both of the children spent the afternoon playing video games. Mr. Dinkins left the residence for a period of time, came back, and then after they finished spending time there at the Howard residence, Mr. Dinkins took the two children over to 2744 on East 53rd Street to the apartment that he shared with Andrea Culberson. Now, at this point in time, I want to discuss the location of that apartment complex so that the court understands where it's located. On 53rd, we have Costco. The Jersey Meadow apartment complex is actually that apartment complex which is directly to the west of Costco. So it would be on the north side of the street. When Henry got back to the apartment complex, they all went inside. I think it's important to describe the layout of the apartment because that will be something that will become the topic of discussion later on. Apartment number 8 actually was a second level apartment. Now, this particular complex is not the type of apartment complex where you have, a common entryway and a common hallway that individuals would use to access apartments on a first floor or apartments on a second floor. In this particular apartment complex, each apartment has its own individual dedicated door for entry into the apartment. So that if you live in a second-story apartment, when you walk in that front door, you have a staircase inside the apartment that you take up to that second floor. Apartment number 8, if you enter that door, and on the right side of what would be that exterior wall would be the staircase. When you get to the top of the staircase, and then if you look over to the left, it's an open area that would consist of the living room, the kitchen, and dining room combination. There was only one bedroom in apartment number 8. And so the front door, if it's, to the one wall of the apartment, when you go up the stairs, the door into that bedroom actually is just set off, just a little bit further to the left, and you go into that bedroom. In order to utilize the restroom in that apartment, that requires an individual to walk into that bedroom because the bathroom is only accessible through the bedroom. And that becomes another critical point that I'll talk about later in my opening statement. After Mr. Dinkins and the children got back to the apartment, it was a normal evening. Andrea Culberson, Mr. Dinkins' girlfriend, she works for AT&T, and she actually works out of her home. She was working till sometime around 7:30 that evening.
It's full
While she
volume
was
for
working,
me.
Asia was very, very interested in the type of work that she was doing, and Ms. Culberson was showing her how she performed her responsibilities for AT&T. Victorious was playing video games in the living room. Andrea Culberson's desk where she works is set up in the bedroom. So Asia was in the bedroom, and at some point in time, Asia was playing video games as well, but within the bedroom. Now, one of the things that Andrea Culberson will speak to, and that DL may speak to, is the fact that Henry Dinkins was spending time in the bedroom with Asia while she played video games. Andrea Culberson will testify that the three of them, herself, Mr. Dinkins, and Asia were in the bedroom, and they were playing the games together. And that's essentially how the evening was playing out. Now, when Aisha Langford got off of work from Checkers late that afternoon, she had been notified by her mother that Henry Dinkins
Yes,
was with
opening.
Asia. And so
Opening,
therefore,
Iris.
there would be the need.
So, Iris, I posted a link at the top, just a brief what the trial's about. And also, we just know now that he's up for 2 things: murder in the first degree and kidnapping in the first degree. So 2 counts. And the girl he alleviated was 10 years old, and his stepdaughter.
Needs to pack up clothes for the children. Aisha went back to the residence. She packed up a bag of clothing for Asia, and she packed up clothing for Victorious, which would have included pajamas for both of the children. And I make that point for a reason, because that will become the subject of conversation as I proceed through my opening statement.
I was just testing
Alicia
Lefty. Well
responds
done.
to the apartment complex.
Lefty passed the
That this
test.
was not a
Champion
complex
left.
that she was familiar with. She'd never been to the Culberson apartment before. At any rate, when she responded to the complex, she called to notify the parties that she was out in the parking lot, and Riesha came down to gather the clothing. Mom had the family pet with them, the dog. Riesha was really excited about it.
What a
Riesha wanted to take the dog with her up to the
what
apartment.
a
Mom had to call her back and say, no, the family pet's going home. But at any rate, it was one of those of give the clothes, love you, have a wonderful
Lefty.
time.
Oh.
And then Aisha left with Riesha going back inside the apartment complex, or I should say apartment number 8, with the clothing. After Aisha left the Jersey Meadow apartment, she took a right-hand turn on 53rd, so she's traveling west. The weather that night is also an issue that becomes very important to talk about, because as she was traveling north and got to the area of North High, there was a significant thunderstorm that broke out. And it was raining so hard that her windshield wipers would not keep up. So she had to pull over into a driveway and wait until the rain subsided before she went back to her apartment. And I believe she was staying with Benita Gardner. The family was in transition, and then they were moving back. She got
Go,
back to
Pac,
the apartment,
go.
was very tired,
Go, Pac,
having
go.
worked all day, took a bath, and very
Yes,
simply,
Dan,
she
you're right.
fell asleep on the couch, and she was out for the evening. At some point, unbeknownst to her, the children, DL and Riesha, neither of which had cell phones that they could take to with them to
My page. No, this is the max. I've maxed out the extension and the it's basically she's not speaking to a mic page. She's not speaking to a mic. That's the problem. Unfortunately. So sorry guys, I can't do anything. Otherwise I would. I can hear because to the aid up page. Like I have to put this up in my own end. I'm literally at 600% for the volume for the court. So sorry. You want me to turn myself down? I've turned myself down, so I think.
apartment. She had received a telephone call from Henry Dinkins' phone that was unanswered. And then the caller became very
Lane.
apparent, because then there was a text message that came through from Riesha saying, "Good night, mommy, I love you." All right. So that was somewhere around 10, 11 o'clock in the evening. As far as how the evening played out at the Culberson apartment, leading up to bedtime, each of the children took baths in the bedroom separately. They were fed some dinner, and then Notorious and Riesha were to sleep in the bedroom on the bed. Miss Culberson had a blow-up mattress that was out in the living room on the floor where she and Mr. Dinkins were to sleep. Riesha was the first one to go to bed. And from the living room, you could actually look through the door of the bedroom and you could see the bed. Because if you're standing at the doorway of the bedroom, very simply you look forward and the bed is straight ahead of you. And then the headboard of the bed actually is right underneath a big window. That window actually looks out into the parking lot of the apartment complex. And that will become very important for later discussions that I'm going to have in my opening statement. So Riesha goes to bed first. Andrea Culberson lays down to go to sleep. Notorious, she can hear Mr. Dinkins say to him that he has so much time to play the video game and that he's going down to bed. And then Notorious was in the bedroom asleep. When Miss Culberson went to sleep, the last that she knew of Mr. Dinkins and his whereabouts was that he was there in the living room on the couch. Ms. Culberson is a very heavy sleeper, and she'll testify to that. At 3 a.m. in the morning, she woke up because she needed to use the bathroom. When she woke up, she discovered that Mr. Dinkins was not there in the living room. That seemed odd to her. She got up, went into the bedroom. She noticed DL sleeping at the foot of the bed, but where little Briasia had fallen asleep on the right-hand side and toward the top of the bed, there were simply the covers that had been folded over, and there was no child there. There was a sense of alarm. She went to the bathroom to use the bathroom, but she decided to get her glasses and put her glasses on to make sure that Briasia wasn't there. And Briasia was not there. Mr. Dinkins wasn't there, and Briasia wasn't there. Ms. Culberson will testify that she had a very uneasy feeling about that. So then she stayed up in the living room, sitting in the dark. Now at 3:30 a.m. in the morning, and this is a time specific, because she had looked at a clock that was on her desk that said it was 3:30 in the morning, she heard Mr. Dinkins very quietly open the door and very quietly come up the stairs into the apartment. And she wanted to know where he was at and where Briasia was at. Mr. Dinkins wasn't really responding to questions other than just to say something very circumspect. He went into the bedroom, flipped on the light, and then went to his closet. Now, if we talk about the bedroom itself, when you're standing there in the doorway, on the left-hand side, that's when you would access the bathroom. And then again, there is a closet on that side. That was Miss Culberson's closet where she kept her personal belongings. On the right side of the bed, there was a closet where Mr. Dinkins kept his things. She will testify that Mr. Dinkins went to that closet. He was rummaging around through things. She's wanting to know where Briasia is at. He's rummaging through things. She happens to pull back the curtain to the window and looks out. And little Briasia is standing by a maroon Chevy Impala on the passenger side of the vehicle. Now, there are going to be three vehicles that the court's going to be hearing about. The maroon Chevy Impala, which was a vehicle that was used by Mr. Dinkins and Ms. Culberson. And then the black Camaro. The maroon Chevy Impala had characteristics that become very important relative to investigations that was conducted by the Davenport Police Department. There were dark tinted windows on the Impala. And then on the trunk, on the right-hand side, there was a white sticker.
So,
On the front of the vehicle, in the area of the windshield, there was a front sticker. And so those characteristics were the characteristics used by law enforcement to identify that maroon Chevy Impala when steps were taken to identify locations that Henry Dinkins had traveled during the early morning hours of June 10th, and we're talking after midnight, and up to the period of noon when he presented himself to the Davenport Police Department. The black Camaro is also very distinctive in the sense that it has the face of a lion on both the driver's side of the vehicle and the passenger side of the vehicle, with king and queen noted in the area of where that lion's face is at. And then there's, that same type of design on the front hood of the Camaro. Those two
try
vehicles
1.5 because she is.
remained parked and were available for use there at the address of 2744 East 53rd Street. Now, Mr. Dinkins also had a motorhome. This motorhome was located in an industrial area, actually in a fenced-in lot. And that lot belonged to a gentleman who owned Devon's, DEVON', self-storage. That mobile home, or RV, if you will, just to give the court a perspective, I want the courts to think about River Drive in the area where Credit Island is. And as you
Okay.
go along River Drive, heading west out of town,
I thought they were in your
you get
box,
past
you
the
swept.
Ball Diamond.
Do you
will
keep
get
them
to
in
an
your
area
box?
that's very industrial. For purposes of perspective, if the court will picture where the Purina plant is located at on Rocky Hill. Schmidt Road is a north-south street. It lies on the west side of the Purina plant. And just to help a little bit more, if you're traveling on 2nd Street, heading west, it turns into Rockingham. You will pass the Purina plant, and then if you were to take that first north-south road, actually turn south going down River Drive, that's Schmidt Road.
Open access, I heard.
Now,
Open
if
access
you
24
head
hours a
onto
day.
River Drive, off of Schmidt Road, the distance from Schmidt Road to the entryway of Credit Island is about 400 meters. You know, if you run track, you run a lap around the track, it's about 400 meters. So it's very, very close. So that is going to be another vehicle in the location that we're going to be discussing. We're going back to that point in time that I was talking about where Andrea Culberson looks out the window so that the court understands where the maroon Chevy Impala comes into play. Reasia Terrell is standing along the passenger side of that maroon Chevy Impala. This raises another topic of discussion that will be discussed throughout the trial. After the children took their baths, they were not given their pajamas to wear. They were given large
all
white
is.
t-shirts that belonged to Mr. Dinkins. And I don't remember, I think the large was like maybe, or the size was maybe like a 4XL. So rather than that child going into bed into what would have been her pajamas, she had on a little pair of black shorts. We would later determine that she had on, you know, one of those little sports bras that little girls wear, you know, as they're developing. And this large white t-shirt. Andrea Culberson looks out. She knows there's no doubt it's Reasia because she had very distinctive braids and the child was standing there. She couldn't see the child's face because the child wasn't facing her. Going back to Mr. Dinkins, as he's digging around in that closet, he collects something from the closet. She's not able to see what it is that he collects because it's secreted in his clothes. And then he leaves the apartment. Now, another important variable that will be discussed is this. Mr. Dinkins' cell phone was located by Andrea in the apartment at 3 o'clock. Because when she noticed that he was gone, she noticed that Reasia was gone. She went to call him. The phone wasn't being answered. And then she discovered his cell phone, and it was plugged in and being charged up. When he left at 3:30, he did not take that cell phone. That becomes very important because cell phones are devices that can be utilized to gather location information for where that phone is at, and whoever is in possession of that phone, then that will identify the location of that individual. So that cell phone was still back there at the apartment. Mr. Dinkins leaves. Andrea is very unsettled. Notorious at some point is waking up and he's crying. I should say he, I'm sorry. She brings the child into the living room to lay down. And then shortly after sunrise, with this room to 5:30 in the morning, in terms of what law enforcement has been able to put together by way of a timeline, somewhere around 5:45 as an estimate.
This was back. Farrell's back.
Mr. Dinkins returns to
Jamie's
the apartment.
back.
Hey.
He comes up. He's very, very frazzled. Ms. Culberson wants to know what's going on. He said, there's issues. I'll talk with you about it later. Where's Reasia? There's no Reasia. Mr. Dinkins then gathers up DL and goes to leave with a bag of the child's clothes. He goes to leave without his cell phone. Ms. Culberson tells him he needs to take his cell phone. At that point, he takes it, and then he leaves the apartment complex. Ms. Culberson then realizes that there's another bag of the children's clothing left behind, and she calls him to come back. He returns, and then she goes down to the maroon Chevy Impala. Reasia is not in the car. Notorious is in the car. Mr. Dinkins is in the car, but Reasia is not in the car. So then she goes back up to the apartment. I'm going to describe this as an area that became critical to the investigation because anywhere that Mr. Dinkins was located, law enforcement, in terms of their investigation to try and locate this child, did major canvassing. That canvassing consisted of knocking on all of the doors there at the apartment complex, checking apartments there, if residents weren't home, to come back and check, to search garages there, to search the dumpsters, there we go, and just to search an entire area behind the apartment complex because that's still a dedicated field area where there's a huge tree line and there's a creek, and the canvas went all along that area toward more like 74. It extended out to Eastern, to the west, and then from 53rd, it extended to the south quite a ways to see if there's any indication anybody has seen that child anywhere had she wandered off. Discussions were had with Aisha and Danita about whether or not Reasia was the type of child who would wander off. Reasia is a child who has a hearing issue. She is a child who has a sight issue. She is a child that never wanders off. And Aisha will testify that little Reasia was a rule follower. And if somebody broke the rules, she was somebody who would tell on her brothers. The apartment complex was not a complex that she was familiar with. She'd never been there. She didn't have friends who lived there, and so she would have no need to wander off. Plus, the child was described as a very, very heavy sleeper, much like her mother and the two boys. Nothing's happened, all right? So now, you know that that's what the landscape looks in that area. By virtue of canvassing, law enforcement was also looking for any locations where there was video surveillance. Video surveillance was located at the Quick Stop on 53rd. So that will lie between Jersey and Eastern. It's on the north side of the street. Between 5:50 and going up to the 6 o'clock hour, that maroon Chevy Impala travels west past the Quick Stop. That maroon Chevy Impala is then
Anticipated in it.
identified from video surveillance at a residence on Judson Court, which actually the video surveillance camera was focused out on
Mhm.
Eastern. So the rear of that residence faced Eastern. So the maroon Chevy Impala is traveling north on Eastern between 5:50 and 6 o'clock. Then that maroon Chevy Impala is seen traveling south on Jersey Ridge, and then the connection between those two streets would be Veterans Memorial Parkway. That's how you would access it. So it's seen traveling south. It correlates with what Ms. Culberson says of Henry Dinkins returning to pick up that second bag of clothes, and then that vehicle then is seen from a residence over there in the area of Jersey Ridge, traveling back north.
Yeah, I think we're still going, Farrell. We'll be
At
going
this
for like
point,
another
I'm going to focus on
8
the narrative
hours.
relative to Notorious or DL. So DL will testify that he and his father went somewhere out of town and they drove for a while. And his father went to a Walmart store. DL noticed that his father had taken the battery out of the cell phone. When his father went into the Walmart, the
I
child
thought
put
the
the
dog's in
battery
it.
back into the phone so he could play a video game. That becomes a very critical moment in time because when law enforcement became immersed in their investigation and was trying to ascertain
So
the
good.
locations that Mr. Dinkins had traveled to, there was that ping in the area of Comanche, Clinton, and it was hitting on a cell phone tower that would be in the vicinity of the Walmart in Clinton. We're still telling the narrative relative to Notorious. When his father then comes out of Walmart, the child takes the battery out of the phone so he wouldn't get in trouble. They travel to different places. And then the child, once he was interviewed during the afternoon of June 10th, he was interviewed by Detective Hammis. Then the child left the Davenport Police Department with Detective Evan Obert, Detective Maureen Hammis, and Aisha Langford, his mother, who had been interviewed that afternoon. And then they started to travel to see if the child could identify locations he had been with his father when they came back to Davenport. Now, to assist in that process, the following events occurred. Aisha Langford was not scheduled to work in the morning at Shepherd's. However, before 8 a.m., her boss called her and indicated that somebody wasn't able to come to work. Could she come on down and work the morning shift? And so she did. So she got down there around 8 o'clock, may have clocked in about 8:04. Aisha Langford had received some type of text, and the telephone records will tell us the sequence of events, from Henry Dinkins' cell phone. She will testify that she tried getting a hold of him. It wasn't happening, so she very simply sent a text, call me, I'm not going to, keep trying to make contact. At 8:08 a.m., there is now location information available for that phone. And that phone is hitting on cell phone towers down in the area of River Drive. So, if you go out Brady toward Clinton, you're traveling north on Highway 61. When you take the exits to go into Clinton, that's Highway 30. If you come back to Davenport, you're traveling south on 61. And then, of course, you have the ability to catch I-80 heading west. That will allow you to access Highway 280 that runs along the western border of Davenport, driving toward Rock Island. And then you can access River Drive from that area. During this time frame, there was construction there on River Drive. So then the cell phone, in terms of where it was hitting in the area of Concord and up to Rockingham. So Concord essentially would be, it winds a bit, but, technically we'll call it a north-south street. And then it would access Rockingham, which would be our east-west street. Henry Dinkins, cell phone powers up. He makes the telephone call to Aisha. He tells her he has just woken up and Aisha is gone from the apartment. Aisha becomes very upset. This makes no sense. She wants to know if he has reported this to the police department, and he said that he was heading there at that time. Aisha Langford believed he was heading to the police department, and then by virtue of that cell phone activity, That then formed the basis for canvassing that was done down in that area to search for Reasia and also to look for locations where there was video surveillance that would tell the story. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to set that aside, and I'll come back to that. Aisha is hysterical. She's at work, she's fine. She will testify that her employer told her, go ahead and leave work. And then so she left Checkers to head down to the Davenport Police Department. When she pulled onto Locust Street, she headed west to go downtown. As she's heading west on Locust Street, she sees Henry Dinkins in that maroon Chevy Impala driving at an extremely high rate of speed, heading east. And she can see that Detorius is in the car. She does a U-turn. She's coming up behind him as close as she can get. She's honking on that horn to get his attention, to get him to pull over. Henry Dinkins then turns left or heads north on East Street. And she will testify that she was right up on that bumper. Henry Dinkins then pulls in to the McDonald's. And for purposes of perspective, think of the high V there on East Kimberly Road. And that sits at the back of the lot. McDonald's is there toward the front of Kimberly Road. They pull in there. She wants to know what the heck is going on. She tells Detorius, come on, you're not going to lose this child. You've already lost one of my children. And she grabs his things and wants to know what Henry is doing in this area because he's supposed to be reporting her child missing. Mr. Dinkins tells her that he doesn't know the address for the apartment where he lives, and so he has to travel out to Jersey Meadow Apartments to get that address so that then he has that to report to the police. She follows him to that apartment complex. So I'm going to change direction relative to the events. When Aisha Langford was at work, she called the Davenport Police Department. Well, actually, she called 911 first. She spoke with the dispatcher who directed her to the
Go on.
What?
I thought you were to say. I thought you
No,
were
no,
to say
no,
something.
I was laughing at the chat. They're retarded.
Yeah. Oh, so fine. I just looked at. See, Sweat always has to take everything to a sexual nature, doesn't she? Do you know what I mean? Like his hair is long, so she could grab it and pull him out. You know,
What are
it's
you
like. Well, I mean, C-Swift's pulling him. Let's go, lick it, lick it. You know. Right. She's still going. Yes, she's still going, guys. We will. Jesus.
general number at the Davenport.
That's what you need to do.
So she calls that general number and she speaks.
Yeah.
Pause it and just have a little comedy moment here.
She's telling Mona
Yes.
what's going on. She said Mr. Dinkins should be there right now. That Mona Borelli indicates that he is not there. She said his car has got to be out there. It's got to be either,
I've already put my number in.
Miss Borelli.
My number is in the hat. My number's in the hat. It's just got to be drawn. Do you know what I mean? So, fucking himself. No, I know. Then I'm pulling a silent. What? How am I doing that? Oh, Sal's brothers in Iowa. I can guarantee you, I have not. I have not. No, C-Swept. C-Swept open 24/7, 7 days a week.
What had prompted her to leave work and head down to the police department. That call comes in.
I don't know, Sal.
Communication specialist Borelli will testify that this isn't the typical call they get where mom and dad can't find the child and the police go out and hide in a closet or bed or somewhere. This one didn't feel right, and she was very concerned because she felt that there was going to be a very bad outcome. She spoke with Sergeant Mayhew, who was
I know.
the supervisor.
I know.
Officer Burkle was dispatched out to the Jersey Meadow Apartments.
Of course she is.
Henry is there at the apartment complex. Aisha is there at the apartment complex. And the state will introduce segments of Officer Burkle's body-worn camera. His initial contact is with Aisha. And he's trying to collect just, biographical information, age, physical descriptors, date of birth, that type of thing. And she is reporting to him what has happened. Then in the background, you see Henry Dinkins wander up. And Officer Burkle says, hey, look, do you mind if I go into the apartments to check? Because oftentimes, the child is hiding somewhere where the parent, doesn't realize where they're at. I just had this situation last week with my own child, and we typically find the child. Mr. Dinkins wants to say, I searched the apartment and the child wasn't there. Officer Burkle says, I'd still like to check. So then Mr. Dinkins indicates it's not his apartment, and that essentially Officer Burkle is going to have to get his permission to enter the home. Aisha becomes very upset because she is not buying into what Henry Dinkins is saying, and she takes Detorius and she leaves. She goes back to her house and she's looking for some type of card that had Reasia's picture on it that had been taken at school. So while she's doing that, Officer Merkel knocks on apartment number 8, Andrea Culberson comes down, he indicates that, he'd like to come in and check, but oftentimes children are hiding in places. Andrea Culberson looks out, she sees Henry Dinkins standing a little bit down the sidewalk, she says, is it okay with him? And then Henry Dinkins leaves. Andrea Culberson allows Officer Merkel to go in there and look for Breasia, she's not there. Officer Culberson, I'm sorry, not Officer Culberson, Officer Merkel starts to check the area, and there's nothing that's indicating Breasia is anywhere in the area. He calls his supervisor, Sergeant Willie. We have other patrol officers to come out. They start checking the area. The situation is not feeling right, and so then the detective bureau is contacted, and then we have massive resources that are coming out, and there is a huge area that's conducted along that area with showing up for Breasia. Now, let's go back down to River Drive. With the cell phone hitting off the tower when that conversation occurred between Aisha and Henry at 8:08, there was video surveillance showing his maroon Chevy Impala traveling past the high V. There was video surveillance from Purina. There was what I'm going to call captured feed. Devon's self-storage is a motion activated video system. There was the vehicle captured by virtue of movement being triggered, and then in that same area, there is Jack's brake and alignment. There was video feed that showed Mr. Dinkins' vehicle traveling on Schmidt Road toward the area of River Drive. And then, based on information provided by Victorious, when Detective Candace, Detective Obert, and Aisha left the station, Victorious had been talking about going to the RV with his father, where his dad had this knife that he gone down to the river, and he walked down to the river, he'd been wiping off with a cloth, and they went back to the RV. There was an image of Mr. Dinkins with Victorious standing near the door of the RV. And so there was video feed that captured all of that movement that the child had identified. All right. So now Credit Island is going to be the subject of investigation, as will be the RV. So I'm just going to stop right there, and now I'm going to jump over to the Clinton area and discuss that. By virtue of the child DL putting the body into the phone and the rest key, there was a canvas done along Highway 30. And actually, there was a canvas done along Highway 61. The maroon Chevy Impala is captured on DOT video surveillance cameras at mile marker 124 heading north toward Clinton around 6:11 in the morning. Then on Highway 30, as you travel east into Clinton, that vehicle is captured on video feed at what would be Posh Farms, PAASCH. That vehicle then is captured at First State Central Bank, which is adjacent to the Walmart on the west side of the business. And then video surveillance from Walmart captures Mr. Dinkins pulling into the parking lot. He goes up to the store. It's not 7 o'clock a.m. It's locked. He comes back to the vehicle, but then he goes back. He enters at 7 a.m. And then video surveillance footage inside the store shows him buying 2 bottles of Clorox, not the gallon-sized bottles, but more the narrow ones. The court's going to be hearing testimony from various forensic analysts and individuals from the DCI laboratory, our criminals. And one of the things that the court will hear about is that Clorox is a product that will destroy DNA. Those 2 bottles of Clorox are being purchased, and then by virtue of that canvas, we have a time frame from First State Central Bank when Mr. Dinkins is leaving, a time frame for when he passes Posh Farms, and then actually in the area of Highway 61 and 30, there's a joint travel center, there's a time frame captured there. Law enforcement will testify that they did a time calculation traveling from mile marker 124 to the Walmart, going the speed limit. They're going to tell you what that time frame would be. The trip out was longer than that, but the trip back had even 5 more minutes that was added to that. Let's take that, let's set that aside. Now we're going to talk about the discovery of Breagia's remains. 6 months later, on March 22nd of 2021, 3 gentlemen, friends, decided to go fishing on the evening of March 22nd. There's a pond located just further north of the Highway 30 exit into Clinton. So if you travel 5 miles further north, you exit onto what would be 212th Street. This is a rural area. Now Implement is a farm implement business that sits right there on 212th Street. And 212 then turns into 210. So the business actually faces, the front of the business faces north, basically, on 212, 210. It's on a pie-shaped piece of property. So on the west side of that property, which would run along Highway 61, and what we would think of as the old Highway 61, is 218. On the east side of the property, and that would be that north-south road, that's 270th Avenue. So you got 212, 218th and 217th, and basically it feeds down where 218th and 270th meet. To the south of Kunow Implement, there is a heavily wooded area. And within the backside of that property, there is a pond. You can access that pond from 270th. There is basically just a dirt road that's got a very steep incline because Kunow Implement sets up much higher. The pond is further down. That roadway, you will testimony, is very steep, and for a car to pull down in there would be very difficult, probably get stuck. When the three gentlemen went to go fishing, they were walking down that steep incline, having car traffic that cuts up on the road. And because we're talking about March 22nd, there's no vegetation. One of the gentlemen looks over to what would be his right as he's walking down, looks to the north essentially, and he sees a human skull. He points it out to his two friends. They go over and check, and sure enough, there's a human skull, and there are skeletal remains. One of the things that the gentleman noticed is that there is black hair consistent with a black individual. Because Reasia Terrell and her having been missing was so highly publicized, the gentleman will testify that at some point they made the connection. Is this Reasia Terrell's remains? The Clinton County Sheriff's Department was contacted. They come out.
Yes, Shelley,
And
yes.
then essentially the notifications go to the Davenport Police Department. Throughout the entirety of this investigation, you had Davenport Police involved, you had the FBI involved, you had the Iowa DCI involved, we had multiple agencies from like Clinton Police Department, Clinton County Sheriff's Department, and just citizens in the community who would come.
Yay, Giannotti, come on, go to.
And then so that area then was processed the next morning. We have a Dr. Heather Garvin. She's an anthropologist associated with the State Medical Examiner's Office. And because we were dealing with skeletal remains, she was brought in. There was the local medical
Yay,
examiner.
Giannotti, yeah.
One of the things that the public testimony about is that one of the little legs still had mummified tissue on it. And so then
Yeah.
the process of trying to develop DNA for that mummified tissue, however, they ended up using bone marrow. They could identify that body as being a female child of Aisha Langford because there was no DNA for Reasia, but because a child takes half of their mother's DNA, half of their father's DNA, they could say this was a female child of Reasia, and then Reasia, because of her dental illnesses, they were then able to get her dental records, and then the collection of teeth put that all together, and there was that definitive identification that was made of Reasia. So the court's going to be hearing about that and everything associated with that recovery. And then on April 3rd, during the recovery of the body, this is what was discovered during the examination of little Reasia's body.
So yeah, the whole problem.
The State Medical Examiner's Office. She was shot through the jaw. The bullet had traveled to the area for C3 and C4. She had been shot.
What you doing there?
Oh, Jesus. I forgot I wasn't muted.
In the dirt with the remains. And then within her.
I thought I muted myself. That's my nieces.
Jesus. Yeah.
These are my nieces. Hang on.
I was like, what's he?
So yeah, the whole problem.
That's my niece. One.
Oh, what? Anyone
I
just
need
said
a
that.
method reply your message.
Oh, hang on, another one.
Indod varived.
Yeah, that's what's he? He's watching. Lefty. You timed that one wrong. No, that was my nieces. They're coming here tomorrow. Cheryl goes, who's coming? One of them is not allowed to come here tomorrow because she's not cleaned the bedroom. But I was trying to persuade her mother to let her come, but no. Lefty. Right, let's get back to it.
There was a projectile that was found within her hair. And
Shelley, of course.
Was little black shorts, the little sports bra, and the large white t-shirt. And in addition, Aisha Langford will tell you that she was asked by law enforcement to try and give them the information about clothing the child had been wearing. So she had to go back and try and reconstruct what she.
That's all good. I know you mean well, Lefty. It's all good.
But then there was a little white slide.
Does he though?
No, well, there's a big difference. Some people, I'll be like, oh, sicko, but it's Lefty, so we leave Lefty alone. Lefty's good. It's fine. He's a big teddy bear, so it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's important.
Then on April 3rd, the Big River Rescue and Recovery Team came out to the scene. and then the dive team went into the pond looking for a gun, and there was actually a revolver that was found. So with the revolver, obviously, there's not going to be casings because there was an attempt to find casings in here. There wasn't any. But the finding of the revolver, the projectiles obviously leaving the gun, the empty casings were there. There was still some live ammunition there. There was attempts to try and identify who had purchased that gun. Unfortunately, the records associated with that were in Cedar Rapids, and when there was that big flood, in the area of the courthouse and all of that, all of the records were destroyed. Those projectiles were then sent to the DCI laboratory to do comparisons with the gun itself. One of the projectiles was pretty.
You didn't say anything bad, Sam. You didn't say anything bad.
For quite a while. The criminalist who evaluated that.
Funny or jack me off. JB jack me off. Yeah, do you see him in chat?
It was better when you
you're all
didn't
good.
know what that meant. Like you didn't know.
No, I did know what it means. Yeah, it
I
took me
know.
about 3 times. I was going like Jack what? Jack me off. Why is he calling himself Jack me off? And I was like, oh no, jack me off. Jack is jack me off, Shelley. JB's gonna jack us all off. No, Jack. Sorry, that's wrong. That was wrong, JB. You don't deserve that. I'm sorry. Jack, you be fine. You be fine, Jack. You be fine. I get everyone's sense. As long as you've been here a few times, we get it. It's fine. We deal with Lefty every. If you could. Oh shit! Hey, hang on. I said it's fine. Played a voice from his niece. I didn't know it was his niece, and I said he's watching. Yeah, I know, but it was funny though, Lefty. It was funny. You got to do it right.
Looked at the characteristics of the revolver and what characteristics would be transferred to a bullet by virtue of the manufacturing process and how the barrel itself will have markings. He could say that what characteristics that were there were similar to this gun, and then the criminals put together a list of every type of gun that would produce those types of similar characteristics. The gun recovered was on that list. There was DNA processing done for little clothing. One of the issues that law enforcement was dealing with the little body and clothing being out there subject to the elements, the sun, the wind, the rain, the snow, obviously over time, that will destroy DNA. And so that process was attempted as well. And then from the FBI, here's what you're going to hear from the FBI. There were search warrants, a massive amount of search warrants issued. And in instances like with the Chevy Impala or different vehicles, multiple search warrants issued. The vehicles were photographed and they were searched. Of note, in the Chevy Impala, there was an axe, there was a baseball bat, but then there was an empty sleeve for like a knife or a machete, but no machete there. When they were recovering the remains of Reasia Terrell, there was a bunch of tree branches and stuff on top of the skeletal remains. Some of those branches, there were natural breaks, with the wind, and there would be the splintering of the branch if it comes off of a tree. Other branches had a clean slice through it. So that was of interest to law enforcement. Notorious had described when he and his father went down to Credit Island, his father had walked off into an area toward like what would be the pond, and his father had a knife that he was wiping off. Law enforcement went down to that area, and there were foot impressions in the dirt, where you could see what would have been the pattern on the sole of the shoes worn. That was photographed and that was collected, and then as those footprints moved forward to the body of water, that basically it became just depressions in the ground where it was more muddy. And so those photographs and those casts were taken because one of the things that Aisha Langford talked about is when she had contact with Henry Dinkins at the apartment, she noticed that he was wearing a pair of gold shoes that had mud on them. He had a do-rag on, and it was just kind of a squeal. He had on a white T-shirt, and it was a little dirt, not something that was marked with dirt, but she noticed that it was dirt. Henry Dinkins came down to the Davenport Police Department at noon and was interviewed by Detective Owen. When he came down, he had on a white T-shirt and the shorts that he was wearing at the apartment complex. But those gold shoes, he was not wearing those. He had on a different pair of tennis shoes. And then the other thing that I have to say was miscommunication the court will hear about. During Henry Dinkins' interview, he was asked about why he was leaving the apartment in the middle of the night in his travels. He had talked about going to a quick shop over on 53rd. That would be near the old Menards, where the old Menards is at, to buy cigarettes. That the surveillance feed was collected. He was wearing those gold shoes, but then he had on something distinctly different. What I'm going to call a white T-shirt versus one that has sleeves, and then a different pair of shorts, that had different pattern. Search warrants were obtained for 2744 East 53rd, and the defendant's sister's house, Nina McClay, and then another individual by the name of Vincent Johnson, and that was based on communications that Henry Dinkins had with those individuals that morning of July 10th, looking for the tennis shoes, looking for what clothes he'd been wearing in the quick shop, and those were never ever recovered or found. And so therefore, There could be no comparison between the images that were collected and the dental casts that were taken out on Credit Island. There was a gentleman by the name of Jim Peterson who came in from the Ames area to assist. He works with canines, and these canines are trained to detect on the odor of a deceased body, VOC and Hildebrand, volatile organic compounds. And basically, it deals with molecules. He went down to Credit Island and ran his two canines in that area. The two canines went to an area and alerted where Henry Dinkins was described by his son, D.L. Sappy-Bond. He'll talk about how a body doesn't necessarily have to be there, but say, for example, if there's tissue or blood or something like that, those are molecules that go out and they float in the air. Then he was taken to the area of dead and self-storage, where the RV had originally been parked, but it now had been seized, as had the Impala and the Camaro, and those were in storage facilities that law enforcement had. The dogs actually alerted to a little camper that was parked in the area of the RV, and there had been a southwest wind, so with molecules, they were alerted to some moist dirt underneath that camper, and he will describe how molecules will attach to anything that's moist. Then they went out to the area where the Camaro was at. The dogs did not alert there. They went to the area of the RV. The dogs alerted on the RV toward the front. And then they went to the area where the Impala was at, and the dogs alerted on the Impala. And then they went out to the area along Veterans Memorial Drive in the area of Eastern. And he'll describe how a vehicle, with the seams, odors will seep out of that and they can float. And the dogs alerted to the scent of Henry Dinkins, because when he went out there, he had been given, or law enforcement had collected a clothing item of Henry Dinkins, and there had been swabs taken to collect his scent, his odor, that had been shown to the dogs, and the dogs actually went out and alerted in an area that the vehicle was known to travel past. So the court will be hearing about that as well. The other matter that I would share in my opening, in addition to the canvas up at 2744 East 53rd, the major canvas that was done out on East River Drive, you'll hear about some other canvases that happened when the public would call in and they would think that they would have information. It didn't prove to be fruitful. When it had been determined that Henry Dinkins had been traveling along Highway 30, there was a major canvas that was done in that area, and soil samples were collected from that area. Soil samples were also collected from Credit Island. But here's one. With the Impala, when it was being searched and examined, and actually the gas tank was removed because they wanted to determine how much gas was in the gas tank. Henry Dinkins had fuel up at that quick shop, so they wanted to see how much gas was left. There were chunks of mud and grass up underneath the car. And then when Maria's little remains were found over there in the area of Canal Implement, there were soil samples collected along that area. All of that was sent off to the FBI. 3 soil samples in the area of 270th Avenue were found inclusive of 3 of the 4 soil samples that were taken out from underneath Henry Dinkins' car. And then the final topic of conversation is a gentleman by the name of Jared Brink. With the discovery of her remains, the news story started to go out. Jared Brink had gone over that evening to his friend Joseph Adams' house. Joseph Adams indicated that they had found remains over there in the area of Canal Implement. And Jared had mentioned to his friend, do you remember how I told you last year sometime that there had been a black gentleman that had run out on the Highway 61 when I was going to work and had needed me to pull him out because he had gotten stuck? For purposes of perspective, Jared Brink lives in a rural area just further north of 212th Street. He works at Linwood Mining in Buffalo. So he travels into Davenport and travels that area of the highway at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. That's when he had an encounter with a black gentleman. He was directed over to the area of 270th. There was a maroon Chevy Impala that the right side of the vehicle, the wheels were stuck off onto the shoulder, and the gentleman couldn't get the vehicle out. He was up there in the car. There was no one in the car. He pulled the vehicle out. The gentleman wanted to pay him money. He was very, very thankful he wouldn't take the money. But then, of course, when Mr. Adams tells him about this, Mr. Adams' wife has a picture of the maroon Chevy Impala due to press releases that the Davenport Police Department had been putting out. She showed him a copy of that photograph. Jared Brink says that that's the vehicle I pulled out. He then contacted law enforcement. He had contact with Deputy Cundiff with the Clinton County Sheriff's Department. Detective, I should say Lieutenant. Lieutenant Cundiff reached out to the Davenport Police Department, and then Mr. Brink was interviewed. Mr. Brink could provide physical descriptors that were consistent with Henry Dinkins. He was not able to, he said he would not be able to pick him out of a phone lineup. He wasn't sure of the time frame, but then he provided his cell phone, and that cell phone then was processed.
I wish you just shut the F up, like. Jesus. Well, if you're going to speak, love, speak in the bloody mic. Oh, I don't know. Birds of a feather. I know, Josie. I trust you, Josie. I know you. It's fine. I trust you, Josie. Jamie told me to mod her, but I'm joking. I'm joking, Jamie. Jamie told me all about it. It's all good. Right.
Yeah. I told him the real story. I promise.
Yes, I've heard of it. I just didn't know the handle, and I was on Nicholas's thing now. Just I forgot I had it open, and I just saw Tweety at US whatever, and I thought it was that. Right. She hasn't taken a breath. I know. Bloody hell, she's a nightmare, man.
Access for location information.
I've
And
lost
that's
the story, so I don't even know where she is at.
Well,
at the timeframe of 4:30. So, that
luckily this
essentially is
doesn't
what the
count
board is
anyway
going
to the
to
trial,
do.
so it's
What
fine.
the state's going to do, Your Honor, we're going to try and
She's been going. I started this at an hour and 10 minutes. Because you told me, Iris, right? Iris told give me a row, right? Because she's like, hey, you don't start your stream and speak for 15 minutes. Start your stream and go straight into it within 5 minutes. So I try to keep to that. So she's been doing it for an hour and 10 minutes, and half of that's been at 1.5 speed. So Jamie knows what skiing is.
Stop doing.
So that's what it, you know. I'm sorry.
a linear chronology of what happened.
We need a
We're dealing
baker.
with, a lot of people that we have to fly in and out. And so, things are going to get jumbled around. But just for purposes of perspective, this afternoon, we will have Borelli, who will be testifying. That was our communication specialist. Our civilian crime scene technician, Jill Foster. She's going to come in. She did the processing out there on Credit Island. And then we have another civilian crime scene, Alicia Fritz, who will be coming in. She's going to be talking about photographs that she took of the brush when Rieger's remains were recovered. But she's getting ready to have a baby. She'll be induced on Monday. And then we're going to have Officer Chris Mayer get on the stand. He actually was out in the area of Rieger's remains.
None of this counts, so it doesn't really matter, guys.
We would find the skull and where we would locate various skeletal remains and clothing. So it's going to be all over the place there, Your Honor. We'll do our best, but there will be points in time where we have to put people on, and it's not a nice linear chronology. And that's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Ms. Cunningham. Mr. Freeze, is the defense going to present an opening statement?
I just lefty. I just want to get through this part. It's boring as hell. Hopefully the next one will be all right. Right. I pause a lot now, Lefty. You haven't been here for a while, son, so you probably haven't seen it, but I do pause a lot now. It's just more of a let's get through this. We're way behind, that's why.
All right, thank you very much. That'll conclude the proceedings this morning. We'll read Ms. Cunningham.
Your Honor, one of the things that I had asked, because of we've got time concerns that we have to get witnesses on this afternoon, they're flying in and they're flying out. What I'd like to do is if we can
Opening.
the next hour, put Sergeant Piper on the stand to testify, because then we can get Matt's introduced of the area so that we have that perspective as we move through individuals' testimony.
I am fine. I'm good with that, but we will take a 15-minute recess at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, 15-minute recess. We'll take a break as well. So we'll move it forward to we're back after break. Right. That was opening. What's young? What's this? Broken Baker, we're all coming to your channel tomorrow, yeah? Yeah. I mean, so Baker's doing a trial tomorrow, the Randolph or something trial, isn't he? At 11 o'clock Eastern. No, 12 o'clock Eastern. So you got that option. I'm obviously going to be doing this trial as well. What's Shelley's on about? I don't even know what Shelley's on about. The Broken Baker, Dylan and Jamie will come to your channel for sure. Well, I can't. I'm streaming this now, aren't I?
He locked himself in.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll start our trial tomorrow, hopefully.
So, what's Jamie? Hang on. I don't know what's going on here now. I don't know. Jamie doesn't love me anymore. No, she loves you, Baker. She'll be back with you tomorrow. She's told me you can. She told me to F off already. She told me do what Baker's
You can
cuter than you.
literally F off.
Baker's cute. You're not. She told me. So I was like, all right, okay. So she's back with you. The trouble is back with you tomorrow, Baker. But I might borrow a little bit if there's breaks and stuff, or if she wants to come on here first. It's up to her, up to Jamie if you want to come on. Because I think mine started about probably around 2 o'clock Eastern, probably. So it's 3 hours before yours that even starts anyway, Baker. So
Oh, yeah.
So, Trent Waldron, I don't know. Jamie loves me again. She does love you. She literally, it's like, you literally, Baker's cute. I was like, he works out, he's got muscles everywhere. I'd love to feel his muscles. I want to take Baker skiing, she said. I was like, what?
I can't with you.
Mo was with Nick, yeah. They're on, so basically they would do the other trial, so they're still going now. They're on, I think, they're on verdict watch, Jack. Jamie was skiing tomorrow, yes. Could go alongside, yes. So Jodie skiing, this is what Jamie does. So she'll be going flat out with Sal tomorrow. Once she needs a break, she'll be going on the other one then. So Jamie can use two at the same time or just one at a time. It's up to her. So hopefully that suffices, Iris. But they last time I went to another stream, Baker pulled too much chats up, and you literally said, "It is hard. It is hard sometimes, literally." Right, let's get back to this now then, because I've got a bloody members only stream in a few hours. So
Hurry up. Chop, chop. Let's go.
right, Young. Deadline's really picking this tribal topic. What, what am I supposed to do?
I don't.
There's a trial. I mean, Baker's covering that trial, and I think that Sal or Mo are going to do the evening trial. So I got to pick a trial. Do you know what I mean? I got to do something.
You can always come hang out with us.
Ms. Cunningham, you may call your first witness.
You're on the state call Sergeant Justin Piper to stand.
Yeah, it was today, Baker. It was today.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Please have a seat there, and I'll need to reposition the microphone.
Oh, I'll slow it down. 1.25. Hang
You may
on.
proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please state your name for the record and spell both your first and your last name.
Jeffrey, Geoffrey, Pfeiffer, Peifffer.
What is your occupation?
I'm a police officer with the city of Davenport.
Jodie, you love it.
How long have you been employed with the Davenport Police Department?
22 and a half years.
If you
You
could
love it,
describe the different
Jodie.
capacities that you served the department over your career.
Over the last couple of decades, I have worked in the patrol field.
Leslie, do you want to come on tomorrow? I've got no one else to come on tomorrow now, so come on if you want.
I transitioned into a couple of different versions of community policing operations. I have risen through the ranks up to sergeant, and I've served in different capacities throughout the agency as a supervisor. In 2017, I was transferred to the Criminal Investigations Division as a supervisor of detectives.
Okay. What division within the Detective Bureau were you assigned to supervise?
In 2017 to 2022, I was the supervisor of the Special Victims Unit.
Okay. Were you working in that capacity in July of 2020?
Yes, I was.
Now, Sergeant Pfeiffer, I mean, obviously, you know why we are here to talk about Breasia Terrell and the report that had come up about her missing. What date was the child initially reported as missing?
July 10th of 2020.
Were you significantly involved in that investigation?
Yes, I was.
No.
Before we talk about the investigation itself, let's just talk about what would be a typical experience for
Yes,
officers of the
sure.
Davenport Police Department. Is it unusual for the police department to get calls from parents or caretakers that they can't find a child?
No, it is not.
Okay, and just give us a perspective of what that looks like for law enforcement who responds to those types of calls.
A majority of the calls that we receive for missing persons, they have a variety of details in different situations. They could be ranging anywhere from a small child who may fall asleep in a closet or make a tent or a fort or something like that within the residence and fall asleep. Children have some, natural inquisitive senses of adventure. Sometimes children wander off into tree houses in their own yard or adjacent yards, play with friends, wander off and, don't check in with their caregivers. Up to teenagers. Sometimes teenagers wander off or they hang out with friends, maybe where they're, not invited to or welcomed by other parental figures. And we sometimes are able to find them fairly quickly when you find out who the friend circle is. But again, that's with slightly older people that have the benefit of language and communication. And then the last normal part of missing persons encompass some of the elderly or individuals with dementia, things of that nature.
And when those types of calls come in, as a general rule, does the Davenport Police Department, are they successful in being able to find the children or the teenagers, or maybe even an elderly person that, you know, has some type of mental infirmities?
Yes, we are.
All right. Now, with respect to Breasia Terrell, when she was reported missing on July 10th of 2020, was there something distinctly different about this particular report as the day developed?
Yes, there was.
And explain.
I was contacted in the mid-morning hours of July 10th in 2020 by Sergeant Willie, who was the patrol street supervisor. He had been requested to respond to that location where Breasia Terrell was being reported as missing. When he contacted me, he informed me that this didn't seem like a typical missing kid that wandered off or anything that we would, you know, be able to resolve anytime soon without additional resources. And he was seeking assistance from investigative assets to help with that call.
Okay. Who was the initial officer that was responded to a complaint of Breasia missing?
That was Patrol Officer Burkle.
All right. And what location had Officer Burkle responded to?
He responded to 2744 East 53rd Street, apartment 8.
Okay. Who resided there at 2744 East 53rd Street, apartment 8?
Andrea Culberson.
And then was Andrea Culberson involved in a relationship with anyone at that time?
She was the significant other to Henry Dinkins.
Is Henry Dinkins present in court today?
He is.
Could you please point him out and describe what he's wearing?
Gentleman in a black button-up shirt sitting between his two lawyers.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witness has identified Mr. Dinkins.
The record shall so reflect.
All right. With Officer Burkle being the first patrol officer out there, was he the individual that had reached out to his supervisory staff?
Yes.
All right. And then the next connect was between Sergeant Willie and yourself.
Yes.
All right. With you receiving that request by Sergeant Willie, describe then what resources were pulled together and the approach that was taken by the department.
I initially gathered up a few of the detectives that were in the office with me at that particular moment and had them respond to the apartment location with me to begin an initial assessment of any other needs and assets that we would need up there. On that arrival, I was briefed by Officer Burkle and Sergeant Willie as to some of the additional details, which at that time I learned.
Right. Check out the very professional Iowa. Good suit, ties, all right, represent. Shelley, they can't be that good because you don't even want to watch it. You want to watch another trial tomorrow. So it can't be that bloody awesome in Iowa. What's going on, girl? She wants to watch the Nevada one. Do you know what I mean? No corn for Shelley. Sergeant Willie, I did catch that. I did catch the Sergeant Willie bit. I was just trying to become a private dick. Nice one, Sean. I do
This young
appreciate
girl,
that.
had originally gone missing from this apartment in the overnight hours.
Yeah, you can say
At this point in time, we had
DCK.
several hours go by, and there had been little to no canvassing done in that particular apartment complex. And there's well over 100 plus units on that particular property, and it was time to organize some canvassing and some door knocking activities. This apartment complex had units that were not occupied and garages and things of that nature that were unsecured. So we devised an organized plan to at least start combing that property and start seeking out some canvassing for the surrounding areas with video and things of that nature.
What is the name of the apartment complex?
Jersey Meadows.
Where is the Jersey Meadow apartment complex located here in town? And if you could associate it with businesses or properties that we would be familiar with.
Sure.
It
That
came up
particular
anyway.
area is
Sean, it came
on
up.
53rd Street, which is in the far northeast section
That's
of the city
fine.
of Davenport. And
You picked Randolph over your home state. Oof.
if
It's all
you're
good.
familiar with the
All good.
area there, we
I'm
have a
only
large
joking.
Costco store, and it is immediately on the west side of the fence line to Costco's. It's across the street from Portillo's hot dog place. And
Happy days. Happy days.
most notably, Elmore Avenue is a main thoroughfare for commercial shopping and things of that nature. And it's just a few blocks to the west of that intersection.
What directions does 53rd run?
53rd runs east and west through the city of Davenport.
How many dedicated lanes of
No.
traffic are there for east and west traffic
But
on
Young
53rd
keeps
Street?
saying it's
In
brilliant.
normal conditions, there's 2 east and 2 west in a turn lane.
All right. And then let's talk about the streets surrounding 53rd Street that would be main thoroughfares running north and south. So Jersey Meadows apartment, at which side of the street is it located on?
It's on the north side.
Right. And then if we were to travel west on 53rd, what would be the major thoroughfare that you would run into that would run north and south?
Your next north-south street would be Jersey Ridge Road.
Okay. And then from there, if you were to continue traveling west through the intersection of 53rd and Jersey Ridge, what would be your next major street?
Would be Eastern Avenue.
Okay, now let's talk, okay, and then from Eastern Avenue, if you were to continue traveling west, what would then be the next major thoroughfare?
The next major thoroughfare north and south west of Eastern Avenue would take you to Brady Street, Welcome Way, which are north-south street names for Highway 61 as it travels through the city of Davenport.
Okay, now let's talk
Teddy
about
bear.
what major north-south streets there are if you move from the apartment complex going east. So if you come out of that apartment complex and you're driving east, you pass Costco, what's going to be your next major north-south street?
Elmore Avenue would be the next main street.
Okay, where the apartment complex is located, how would you characterize the neighborhood as a whole?
It's very commercialized in that particular area. That apartment complex was one of the original footprints in that area as it was being developed. Further to the north of that apartment complex, there has begun some residential projects up there for normal residential housing.
Okay, and when you talk about the original footprint, that whole area of Davenport, what was it before they built the apartment complex?
It was farm fields.
Okay, is there still farm fields located behind the apartment complex?
Yes, there is.
Okay, and would that be to the north of the apartment complex?
Yes.
All right, Sergeant Pfeiffer, just a topic that I want to talk about, it's just, stepping outside our discussion. Is there any Walmart located in this immediate vicinity?
Yes, there is.
Where is the Walmart
Why
located
Walmart?
relative to the Jersey Meadow apartments?
So if you were to come out onto 53rd Street and go east, like you had just described, that very next main thoroughfare is Elmore Avenue. And if you were to make a left northbound turn onto Elmore Avenue, you would be within just a few blocks of the nearest Walmart.
So if an individual was interested in purchasing Clorox, are there a number of businesses even beyond the Walmart where you could easily purchase Clorox if you live there at the apartment complex?
Yes, there are. There are grocery stores and things of that nature.
All right. All right. Now, let's talk about the layout of the Jersey Meadow apartment complex. How's it structured?
When you originally pull into the apartment complex from 53rd Street,
Is there like only one Walmart in Iowa or something? Is Iowa, from what everyone's saying to me, Iowa's like a derelict place or something. It's like literally just one shop, one store, one apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Yeah, Josie, I think he's back next week streaming. So basically, don't go to Iowa is what I'm hearing from everyone. Except if you want corn.
Does it suck?
road.
I've never been there.
I mean, hey, even Young doesn't even like it, so and she lives there.
there's 2 lanes. There's basically an inbound and an outbound to keep traffic running smooth within the complex. On your right-hand side is typically the inbound, and it goes to the north. There are multiple buildings on the right-hand side as you go in, which would be the east. In the center, there are garages every so many feet with a couple of cross-throughs.
Pretty boring.
With respect to where the buildings are on each side of these lanes,
I like
some
corn
of
as
the
well.
buildings are situated in the east-west fashion, and then there are buildings that are along the outer perimeters, and they're built longwise in a north-south fashion. So you have buildings basically going this perimeter, and there's some that are perpendicular towards the center of the road.
The garages that you've described, do they essentially run in the center between that entry drive and that drive that you would take to exit the apartment complex?
Yes, they separate for the most part the in and outbound lanes.
Okay. Now, the apartments themselves, how many levels are there to any given structure where there's an apartment?
The structures are all identical in appearance of construction, and it is a 2-story style just a
Really
main floor, and then there's
frisky.
an upper floor.
No,
If
no.
you lived in an upper level apartment,
I think they passed
do
it.
you have to use a dedicated entryway and a common hallway to access your apartment, or is this complex different?
There are no common areas in this apartment complex. If you are on a second floor, the best
Hi,
way I can
Thierry.
describe it is when you're
We're on
looking at the
vertical
buildings,
swell.
you may not necessarily know if you're going into an upper or lower unit because the doors all appear the same.
Siri, we're on 12.
As soon as you open the door to an upper level unit, you're immediately faced with a
I said hi,
stairwell. So
Thierry, and
the
he comes up to
stairwells
Thierry.
are encompassed within the actual dwelling.
Okay, Sergeant Pfeiffer, are you familiar with the layout of apartment number 8?
Yes.
All right, what I'd like to do, let's just draw a simple diagram so that we've got a perspective of that, and we'll just set that at the outset so that everybody understands the layout.
This Thierry's already annoying me. I don't know why, but oh, look at her hair's under. She hasn't shaved.
That's okay. Basic
I mean-
diagrams are easy to understand. Now, Sergeant Pfeiffer, what I'd like for you to do is to just draw a basic layout of the apartment itself. And as you draw this diagram, place Costco in the diagram and the relationship of the building where apartment number 8 is and how that entry door would be situated relative to the Costco parking lot.
Call it half of this floor north. This being south would be 53rd Street. We have our in lanes, we have our outbound lanes, not yet complex. We have driveways I'm trying to explain to you here in the center, and then you have apartment buildings. This sort of fashion, this is not a, say accurate. We call this 2744. There is a parking lot in front. If you come to the west, this being 2744, apartment 8 is over here. So the east window on the second floor of this building, roughly here, overlooking this parking lot. The main entry door to number 8 is over here. And when you open this door, there are steps that come up into the apartment. And within this apartment up here, come up the steps on the right-hand side, and that is the right-hand side of the unit. Come up into the living area. You have this area that's just left of the stairs. You have a bedroom area that is contained here on the west side. There's a closet on each side, the bed pretty much in the middle, and the only bathrooms in the unit is also contained within that bedroom area.
Okay.
As you can see that side. So this stairwell, the bedrooms, the bed is situated mostly in the middle of this room. There's a closet on each side, and then you have the bathroom is contained within that bedroom. In this common area, you have your living rooms associated with this area. At the top of the stairs, there's the kitchen sink and cabinets, and then a small little dining area. It's a very small unit.
All right, now go ahead and give us the rest of our directions. So we've got north to the top on our diagram, south is where on our diagram?
South you have down here.
Okay.
And then you have west. You have east over here. And this is where your Costco, you have a fence that runs very close to this property line near these buildings.
And that would be on the east side of the apartment
Yeah,
complex?
east side of this entire complex, yeah. But no.
Don't back up. Don't back up,
There's a fence.
Thierry.
There's some little bit of a tree line there, and then Costco is right here on this far east side.
Okay, for purposes of our written record, if you're looking at the diagram, is west to your left or to your right?
West is the left.
And then east, is it to your right then?
Yep.
All right. All right, now I want to go back. You'd indicated that when you go into the bedroom, there is a window. You described it as an east window. Is it actually an east-facing window or a west?
Faces the west.
It faces the west. Gotcha. All right. And then if you look out that window, what room would you be standing in?
You'd be in the bedroom.
Okay. And so then in looking out that window, are you going to be able to see cars that are parked out there in the parking lot?
Yes, you have a line of sight into this parking area.
Okay. And is it a clear line of sight?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and take your seat.
Oh, come on.
All right. Now, when you had responded out there, did you have any information about Breasia? You know, as far as information relative to the development of the child, whether or not she had any handicaps, whether or not she had a history of wandering off?
So some of my initial inquiries on my arrival were any sort of disabilities.
I did answer though.
Habits or routines of running away.
I didn't know they were
And
doing it
what the
afterward.
summary provided
I just
to me
didn't think they were
included
doing it.
that she was half deaf and half blind.
So you
To
have
what
answered.
degrees of that, I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
I was
and it
like,
wasn't able to be articulated to me
You
in
know?
different terms than just that. With respects to running off, I was told by Aisha Langford, the mother of Breasia, that she does not run off. She would not leave an area unfamiliar. It wasn't something that she did even when she was at home in familiar territory. She was not something that she had ever done.
And had you made inquiries about whether or not this was an area that the child had been to or was familiar with?
Yes.
And what information did you have about that?
That she had never spent any time there. They didn't have family there. There was no relation.
Okay, let's identify the involved parties then. Breasia Terrell. Who is Breasia Terrell's mother?
Aisha Langford.
Okay.
Thanks,
What
Thierry.
relationship does Aisha Langford have to Henry Dinkins?
They have children in common.
How many children?
Thank you.
One boy,
Okay. And then what are the initials of that child?
DL.
Okay. How many children altogether does Aisha Langford have?
She had 3 at that time.
Okay. What are the initials for the oldest child, and is that child a girl or a boy?
CS, and he's a boy.
How old was CS at the time?
I believe 11 or 12.
Okay, all right, and then we'll figure that one out. And then how old was Breasia at the time?
10.
And then how old was her youngest brother?
8.
Okay, and what were the initials of her youngest brother?
DL.
Okay, is that the child that you'd indicated Henry Dinkins was the father of?
Yes.
All right, so to be clear, is Henry Dinkins the biological father of Breasia or the older child CS?
No.
Okay. What happened at the apartment complex with the detective bureau responding out there? We've got patrol out there. Describe the developments.
Once an organized
good, so
canvas
good.
was
I
established,
just only think
I
that
had
what you
reached
didn't
out to
answer,
the
that's
upper
all.
command staff of the police department to express the needs for additional resources to expedite some of the organized canvas efforts. This coming now into the end of the afternoon and approaching the weekend, it was important to me to make sure we had resources secured, and the upper command of the police department began reaching out to surrounding agencies and looking for support because this incident was clearly not like anything else that we had encountered, and it appeared very significant based off the age and the lack of details surrounding any of it.
Okay, as the day progressed, you know, given your experience as an officer and a detective, how are you feeling?
Objection. How are you feeling is vague and ambiguous.
Okay, did you have,
Sustained.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, did you have concerns about there being a successful outcome to this?
Yes.
Okay, all right. At the apartment complex then, was contact initiated with residents living at the various apartments?
Yes.
If residents weren't home, was there any follow-up?
Yes.
Did any residents have any information to provide that would assist in the investigation?
No.
Beyond just making contact with the residents of the various apartments, did you do any massive searches of buildings there at the complex?
Yes. We obtained access to any apartments that were currently not leased. The management allowed a search of those units, as well as the garage units that were able to be opened. And then we reached out to the tenants to open up garages that we couldn't access.
Was Breasia located anywhere within the complex?
No.
Were there dumpsters out there at the complex?
Yes.
And were dumpsters checked?
Yes.
And why would you check dumpsters?
Children can play in dumpsters, and after 2 decades of being in this line of work, sometimes bad things happen to children. They end up in dumpsters.
Okay. When you were going through, or law enforcement was going through dumpsters, was there anything that you noted in the dumpsters that even prompted a further line of inquiry?
No.
Okay, all right. And then outside the apartment complex, was there a major canvass done of that area?
Yes.
All right. Sergeant Pfeiffer, have you created a diagram of areas that's going to be the topic of discussion throughout the course of the trial?
Yes, I am.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Okay.
CUC swept.
Sergeant
Catch you
Pfeiffer,
later.
Here to you is from Marcus States Exhibit number 38.
Do you recognize him?
Mother,
Yes, I do.
use a friggin' mic.
It is a map covering Scott County and Clinton County.
You mentioned Clinton County. Did the
Yeah.
investigation proceed outside of Scott County at some point in time?
Yes, it
Oops.
did.
And then, relative
So the defendant as well, he literally just got out of prison like 4 months before this. He'd been in there for quite a while, I think. So it's not exactly. Um, try to look at this now. So he was a convicted SEX offender, and he's accused of alleviating 10-year-old Brigitte BT. So yeah, accused of kidnapping, shooting Terrell in July 2020. It was. Um, so this is key actually. One of the state's key witnesses, a man named Jared Brink, died in June 2023. The state fears without his testimony, which allegedly would have explained he pulled Dinkins out of the mud where Terrell's body was located, the case could be impacted. Oh my no. Open statements are expected to begin Thursday. Right, hang on.
What?
Hang on. Shut the front door. Jamie,
What?
we need to talk.
Why?
We
Okay,
need to
sure.
talk. I am so insulted.
What?
No, I'm not. Right. Where we go?
So confused.
Right. We are not doing this trial. We are not. Do you know how long this trial's lasted for? Or predicted to last for?
More than
Guess.
6 weeks.
Oh, you're not far off. 5 weeks.
Get out of here. No.
I can't commit to 5 weeks of this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I just can't do it because I've got other trials, and there's one Alessandro I want to watch. So I wasn't into it anyway, but I can't do it.
Mhm.
So sorry, guys. If you're into this, I'm sure someone else is covering it, but I can't do it.
Yeah. You'll just have to watch it
Um,
on Law Crime.
oh, look who chirps up. Look who chirps up, right? Lefty. You got this. Don't be a pussy your whole life. Shut. I did Mark Jensen for 3 weeks. Do you know how many people are watching with me? That many. Zero. Well, Sal sometimes.
I wish I would
Um,
have known because I forgot where I watched it, but it was stupid wherever I watched it.
yeah. But mine was a repeating fair. It's 5 weeks of this trial, Josie. I can't do it because I've got too many stuff coming up. I need to find a way to get out of this. What you want? Like, it's Lawn Crim, yes. Or crap involving kid, yes. So I know he was only there for 2 minutes every day. Is the accuser off with the kid? Yes, but I'm not gonna carry on with it. I watched Sal's Mark Jensen for the host and the fiery chat. Yeah, well, I mean, you know the results, so you know it's easy enough to do that then because you know what's coming up. I can't continue doing this trial. I'll be honest, it's pointless because I'm not going to stream it. Sorry guys, I should have looked, but I just looked now and it said 5 weeks, and I got Solomon's interview. I've got I got just things I need to do as well. So I cannot commit to this trial. I'm afraid. I am very sorry for that. And we've got Alessandro something trial coming up start September, which I promised people I would do. So you can't hear me. Thierry can't hear me. Can you hear me, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Oh, I turned my Iris told me to turn my thing off down, so I did. Um,
They're just messing. They're just messing with you.
is it? I trust Thierry, you see, so that's why I'm a bit like, if it was Lefty, I'd have been like, oh, well, whatever, but it was Thierry, so. Uh, Jamie, can you see our chat? Yes, I can see everyone's chat. I hear just fine. Thank you, Farrell. So, yeah, I cannot continue doing this stream because in 5 weeks, it's not. I won't be into it. I won't be into it for 5 weeks because I've got so many other things to do. So I'd rather be honest and not start it.
It didn't really like,
To be honest.
I don't know, like it wasn't something I was excited to watch. So for 5 weeks, no way.
No, I thought if it was, I genuinely thought it was like 3 days. So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I could do 3 days of this. Farrell hears me whisper sweet nothings to her from 5 states away. There we are. He's a cutie, isn't he? Lefty's a cutie, whispering sweet nothings. Farrell could hear everything. So we're still on verdict watch though.
Yeah. Well,
It's
the Black
I don't know.
Widower trial is supposed to last like 3 weeks, they said. So that's going to be a long time.
So that's yeah. Hang on. Don't I watch the video from Alexi Treviso that was on last night. I posted the trial challenge. Well, I probably not going to do it now. Young, to be quite honest with you, it's 8. I suppose I got a little bit of time, but not that. Yeah, exactly, Lefty. I'm using headphones, so maybe that's why I can hear him. And Jamie can hear me. She's not using headphones, so cool, Thierry. Thank you. You always have headphones on. Anyway, I'm just gonna look. I got a members only stream tonight anyway with the Gilf. So, you know, if you're not a member, remember to join, so you can access it. Shelley's obsessed with what? Who's this now? YouTube. If this is this one. No, I don't want to play that. I don't want to play it. I know what it is now. Yeah, I'll tell you why I'm not playing this because Lady Law wants to do it. It's not that Lady Law wants to do it, and I'm not touching it because I know she wants to do it. So she's going to be covering that trial, Shelley. So because I know she's covering it, I'm not going to touch it. But thank you. Maybe see you, Lefty. Yeah, but also I just want a bit of a break, like just have a chat to the chat, innit? It's not negative Ned. It's not negative Ned. We can chill out. We got members only in like 3 hours, so we got some stuff to watch there, and that means I can actually take a bit of a break then before we start that stream. So that's happening. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6 o'clock Eastern. 6 o'clock Eastern tonight. I did it that time because Lady Law can come then. So what's so yeah. What have you got, Jamie? Anything for you to say?
Sal's at 5:30 today. Is it 5:30 today?
What is he?
No, I have to look. But
Yeah, look at it.
I was
Because
gonna go
everyone
on.
go over and watch Sal. 8.
I think that's what he meant. 5:30 today. He has some Mark Jensen stuff, so
Right, okay. Well, let's is
I
he
will
hang
be
on.
there. I'll be over there with him. So
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, 5:30 Eastern. Okay, so everyone boycott it. Everyone boycott Sal Street. I'm joking. I'm joking. So 5:30, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, so 10:30 my time. Okay, well, I won't be there because I'm going to be prepping for my stream, Sal. Apologies. But I got members only trial stream at 6 o'clock Eastern. So if people aren't with me, I know where you are. So it's all good. Okay, well, I won't disappoint anyone anymore. Thank you, Jamie, for that. If Baker's still here, obviously, Baker, if you do want me to come on your stream tomorrow, not literally come, I mean attend your stream tomorrow. Um, you know, I'm more than happy to be there, but it's up to you, my friend. Next time. Yes, if I didn't have a stream on, I would, but I've got that stream. But Sal, I'll be there Saturday. I will be watching. Um, if you're streams would chat in the live streams channel them. Yeah, I just hate Discord. I go in there, put that thing in there, and that's it. Look, Baker's not even in there, so if Baker wants me on there, that's fine. He knows where I am. But if not, no issues. I'm on Verdict Watch anyway, so it's all good. Sal starts saying up later. Sal, you could stay on. Like, literally, you're Arizona. You're like 8 hours ahead of like behind me. Sal could bloody like Sal should be up at like midnight. That's 8 o'clock in the morning for me.
Sal goes to bed at like 4:30.
In the morning. Or
No,
the afternoon.
in the evening. Maybe
Jeez.
6.
6. 12, 1, 2. That's what time I'd be going to bed myself tonight, probably. Jeez, I'm
How many times we'll all be
like
like
you,
just
Thierry.
hanging out, chat, and it's like 6 p.m. and he's like, I'm gonna go to bed. And he leaves, and we don't see him the rest of the night.
Unbelievable. Thank you, Josie. If you go into this link, what I'm gonna do is, well, anyone that's a member, I'll put their. What's he said now?
We call him
Oh,
Grandpa.
6 p.m.
'Cause
My social medias there, PayPal, the Zachariah Anderson website's in there, and I'll link anybody that is a thingy, a member here. I'll put your stuff in there as well. He goes to bed at 5, 6 p.m. He turns into oh geez, why did I put that on screen? Get off the screen. Sal. I love Sal.
we all
Hello,
do.
Kim. Nice to see you, Kim.
Hi,
True
Kim.
lefty lefty. Like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You guys, you guys, you guys. Anyway, there we are. Also, he won't be doing this stream anyway with if he goes to bed at 6 o'clock. He won't be doing stream with thingy. Jesus, Jamie, where the fuck did you go? Popped off.
Oh, I don't know.
So yeah, hi Kim, nice to see you. Limo, yeah, Limo was Zachary Anderson. You all know where to go. And it's in my link tree as well, so have a look at that. You saved that stream. Oh, EU, yeah, she said she might pop on with me tomorrow as well. But I'm not going to stream now, maybe. So it's true. I know. To be fair, I get off my mods all the time, Sal. So don't worry. You'll talk me to stream. Yeah, stream away. Stream away, my lovely. Stream away. So, shall we end the stream? Yeah, we'll end the stream there. Sal has insomnia and sleeps when to understand, but forcing oneself to stay up helps. Yes. Yeah, you want me. Right, Jamie, thank you very much.
No problem.
And I'll say I might see you tomorrow on Baker's. If not, I'll say hi in chat anyway. So it's all good. I'll be if I'm not on not Sal's. If I'm not on Baker's tomorrow, I will be probably here on Verdict Watch, but doing nothing. So just go and watch Baker, and then
We'll send a
whatever.
link in case something comes back early, because obviously the widower case isn't going to start until later.
Oh yeah, no. If it comes up, then I'll definitely send you. Or if you probably hear before me that comes up, just let me know and I'll send you. So
Okay.
keep in touch. Okay, guys. Birdie there, I guess. Yes, the birdie was there. So right, all you members, if you're coming and you're not on Sal's, I'll see you from 11. If you're not a member, no wishes at all. I'll see you tomorrow or something. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Good night, and bye bye.
Bye.